So, I wanted to share about my experience with long COVID and things that I've done to help. And yeah, so I first got COVID, I think like way before it was even really known about, I assume. But like my dad and I definitely got it when it was more popularized. But I think I had like long COVID before that because I had lingering chest issues that I never ever had when I was sick. And we got sick in like a very unique way twice. But regardless, the second time my dad tested positive and I was sick when he had it because we lived together. And one night I was taking care of him because he wasn't taking the supplements that I recommended. And like I gave him the supplements and stuff, and he got better quickly from the symptom that he was having that I wanted to make sure we take care of. But I think like being up and like exerting myself too much because I was already sick really caused the COVID to like hang on. Because I was managing. Like I listen to my body really well, and I'm really in touch with it. I can tell like subtle differences when I need to sit down, when I don't. I just feel like that's kind of a superpower for me. And I could tell it was too much. And after that, like it's like I couldn't catch up anymore with like the supplements that I was taking and everything that my dad and I had always used anytime we got sick. But even with like the probable COVID that we got like a year before, which there were like articles and stuff about how people did get COVID like a year before it was known about. But anyway, I think it was just pushing myself, and I think it's really important to listen to your body when you have it or when you feel sick in general, obviously. But some things that I've done, obviously vitamin C seems to be really helpful. Like whenever I get it, I'll get this like really restless feeling, like uneasy, like almost anxious feeling. And when I take plenty of vitamin C, it goes away. And vitamin C is like an antioxidant. There are like conflicting studies about like the antiviral nature, but then like more old-fashioned doctors that like worked with vitamin C for like really serious diseases, recorded that they were able to like handle it with vitamin C. So regardless, at minimum, the antioxidant properties are really helpful, and I noticed an effect. I really like Lomatium. It's a very unique antiviral. It's a really unique, sorry about my dog, antiviral. But yeah, I also discovered IgG is really important for long COVID patients who especially have had impaired immunity, which I definitely have, which I think involves like the mold that I've been exposed to. But that's really helpful. Colostrum, which there's IgG and IgA in colostrum as well. So you might just be able to get it from that if you just like make sure that there's a minimum like regulated quantity in the colostrum. And lactoferrin is one that I swear I noticed a difference from like the day that I started taking it. Like I forgot that I took it, and then later in the day I was like, why do I feel so much better? I was like tolerating activity better, and I realized that I had taken it. And it was after I read like so many studies about colostrum and how people just in the studies had done so well on it, because COVID seems to have to do with like dysregulation of iron, which makes sense because like breathing issues tend to ensue from like poor iron sufficiency. And like I even heard that early on that like it can be an issue with like your blood as opposed to like your lungs, which both affect your oxygen. And yeah, so lactoferrin regulates your iron. So people that were like high in iron in the wrong places, because you can get like iron toxicity, but then still be low in like the iron that you need for like hemoglobin. It like takes the iron that, I think it's like free iron, where it's not supposed to be, and it like regulates it and then makes you sufficient. So like if you're low, you have the right amount, so it like regulates your iron, because like iron that is where it's not supposed to be can cause inflammation. And it's like really well known, like a lot of people I've heard in like the health and wellness field will like villainize iron and say like nobody should take more of it, and it's for that reason, because it's like the dysregulation that causes issues. But I don't think anything's black and white like that. Like you need the cofactors, and like copper is really important for having sufficient iron and for regulating your iron. Like you could be taking iron but be low in it because you're low in copper, which you need to like put it into your cells and things like that. And that's another thing for long COVID that I wish I would have known a long time ago, is it's really important for like your white blood cells, which I've gotten sick like 10 times in the last year. And your white blood cells are needed for your immune system. So copper is really important to make sure you're getting enough of. And especially with COVID and long COVID, people saw this advice to like take zinc to reduce your risk, but they don't realize that copper and zinc balance each other out. So if you take a lot of copper, you can actually deplete your, if you take a lot of zinc, you can actually deplete your copper to where you're super low and you don't even realize it. And for me, like I always get plenty of zinc in my diet, but copper is actually what I don't get a lot of most of the time. So it's really important to be mindful of. Like I get it in liquid chlorophyll, which is the plant form, so that can be super beneficial. And I just feel good immediately when I take it. So if people have like nervous system issues, sorry, my dog is on my laptop. Stop, sorry. So yeah, if you have like nervous system issues, it's definitely worth looking into copper, because it can increase your dopamine and like regulate your neurotransmitters, and dopamine like regulates and increases your motivation, your focus, and things like that. So Albert, shut up. Yeah, so that's really important. And like just getting all of your nutrients. Magnesium, of course, like if you don't already know about that, it's super important for like relaxation. I have a video about like methylation and methyl donors for restless legs and internal tremors, which is like the feeling that you're vibrating inside, which is kind of scary and unsettling. And how methylation and supporting methylation helped get rid of that for me. And actually other people have gotten rid of it as well once I like posted about it and shared about it on different platforms. So that might be helpful if you have it, because a lot of people got it from long COVID in various groups and forums that I've seen. Yeah, just getting enough protein is really important. You need protein for muscle, and you need muscle for your immune system, and muscle in general is just really important, like for brain function. And I get at least 80 to 100 grams per day, which I think is more than like the daily. It's way more than I used to get. I used to get like 50 or 60. So I feel so much better when I get enough protein. It helps your blood sugar. So if you think you have to eat really low carb, which is a whole another issue in itself, that's really important to understand. If you think you have to eat really low carb to have like ideal blood sugar, you could be missing enough protein, because that's like a huge factor. And so is like fat to balance out carbs, and like obviously fiber and things like that, but definitely protein is absolutely vital. And I think it's super underacknowledged actually in people who aren't like building muscle or things like that. So that's something I've learned more recently that really helped with my restless legs and internal tremors, and just the general feeling of like uneasiness and anxiety as well. So protein could be a huge game changer. And you can monitor like your intake of all the different amino acids which make up protein on Chronometer.com, and that's free, and I would highly recommend that for optimizing your health. And you can you can monitor your intake of all the different nutrients there as well, which if you're not doing that, then you should definitely be taking a multivitamin. But even if you are taking a multivitamin, you could be not getting enough of certain things in that multivitamin. You have to like look and make sure you're getting enough. And yeah, everyone's different. Like everyone's gonna need like more or less of certain things depending on like where they're at, what they're exposed to. Like for me, I find I need like more vitamin A for my immune system and things like that. And like if you take too much of one vitamin, then you could be depleting another vitamin. So it's really best to like have biofeedback or testing done, or work with like a practitioner of some sort if you don't want to go to the doctor, which I'm not saying I recommend not going to the doctor, but some people aren't going to, and it's best to like see a practitioner at least if you're going to not go to the doctor. But anyway, the lymph is really important. The lymphatic system is like how your body gets rid of toxins, and they've found that people who have like the persistent virus that like hangs around after COVID, so like long COVID, is like not reached as well by the lymph. So it's really important to be moving your lymphatic system, which is like your body's way of mobilizing like your immune cells to kill invaders like viruses in the first place. They found that people have reservoirs like outside of the lymph or in areas that it just doesn't reach as well. So I use like a vibration table. It's just like a platform that you step on and it like vibrates, and it's amazing. It really helps with energy. And if you can't like work out, like I couldn't repeatedly when I kept getting sick and I would be like really, really bad. It like challenges your muscles slightly. So you can actually like tone up a little bit, or like do exercise on it, and that will increase the benefit. But you will feel after using the vibration table like you'll be really itchy because it's increasing your blood flow so much. And it also increases your lymph, which is really important because your lymph doesn't have a pump like your blood does. Like your heart is your blood's pump, but your lymph needs you to like flex and move and like walk and things like that in order to have your lymphatic flow. And when you have long COVID, some people are super almost incapacitated. So it's really important to make sure you're still like supporting those systems to keep your body like going on. And even if it's like a fatigue issue, the vibration table is so helpful with that. Like when your lymph is stagnant, it tends to go hand in hand with fatigue. Like your brain has a lymphatic system, which is like detoxification, and it's going to aid with better blood flow because it like reduces the waste in your blood. So to get all those systems moving like a healthy person is going to make you feel like a healthier person. And for me, it made me so much more motivated to do things that I didn't want to do before. And I just felt incapable of, not physically, but just energetically. And it made me want to do those things that I didn't want to. And that was like really refreshing that there was anything that existed that helped with that. So yeah. I'm sure there's a lot more that I will think about, but those are some really important things, and I hope they help.